everybody. Welcome back. This is Miss Faye, and this is my world. Today's topic is some people always need to be right. Some people always need to be right. Before we get started, I'd like to say welcome. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to all the new viewers, the new subscribers, and welcome to you who have been with me from the beginning. I really appreciate you. Now, to get us started, I did pull a short video. Let's watch this video, and then we have a letter. We're going to dive right into this letter and talk about this issue. Some people always have the need to be right. Here we go.
5 ways to deal with someone who always has to be right. Number 1, don't take it personally. When talking to someone who thinks that they're right all the time, it's inevitable to feel like you're being personally attacked. The first step is to recognize that people with this issue had this problem long before their interaction with you, and to understand that it's nothing personal against you, and view it as an unhealthy behavior that they've learned over time. Number 2, if possible, walk away from the argument. A person that always needs to be right during an argument is energy draining. When situations start to escalate, emotions are heating up, and you've been talking in circles, it's important to know when to throw in the towel and when to wave the white flag. Number 3, stay out of the blame game. Blaming creates more problems, whereas taking responsibility for your own actions resolves issues. Blaming someone who always has to be right won't nudge them towards responsibility. Instead, it will open opportunity for them to jump into the victim role. Number 4, keep the argument focused on one topic. People who always need to be right tend to be experts at including non-relevant information into every argument, whether it's bringing up incidents from years ago, situations that have already been resolved, or their own past experiences. Be sure to only talk about information that's related to the current issue to help stop this harmful cycle. Number 5, avoid the trap of supporting witnesses. People who need to be right will typically bring in other people if they sense that you're not playing their game. In these situations, it's best that you drop the rope and walk away. Remind everyone that the current issue doesn't include external people and leave the argument.
All right, let's dive into this letter. She says, I am a 54-year-old Black female. I am so tired of my job that quitting is not an option. So I am stuck. Well, for you to say that, yeah, you are stuck. You've already made that revelation for yourself. I am too close to retirement to give up. I am polite, respectful, and ladylike on the job. Okay, now wait a minute. You say that you're 54 and you're too close to retirement. You retire. Now, I retired at 62. I didn't wait. So you're thinking 74. That's what? That's almost 20 more years. Why is that close to your retirement? If you wait until you're 74 or 75 or whatever the age is, you still got plenty of time. Okay? And anything can happen to a job. You know, you might not be ready to go, but they may be ready to let you go. All right? So for you to say that you're stuck, that's why I'm stopping right here. It's not good language for you to, because that's negative. That just means that you can't go anywhere, no matter what. And you don't want to be stuck anywhere. Okay? All right. These awful people take my kindness for a weakness. All right, you're in a place that you're not happy with. I am often bullied and mistreated, while the ones in the clique who are often high or drunk on the job get away with murder. They are so lazy and selfish. Well, you're starting off the letter judging everybody on the job. You judging them. Okay. All right. Please do not get me wrong. I live in North Carolina, but I'm from D.C. so am far from being a pushover that everyone thinks I am. And why do you think that? Why do you think that people think that you're a pushover? Is that your preconceived notion? Because now you're in the South and you're from the mid South. You know, DC is not really the North. It's kind of the gateway to the South. Okay, we'll say something like that. All right. So the culture is not that much different in North Carolina because I was born in North Carolina. Okay. So you say you far from a pushover because you from DC. What does that mean? You from the streets? Being from DC, that means that you hard knocks? Is that what you're saying? Okay. My supervisors tried to gaslight me into thinking I had it all wrong and that I misinterpreted their actions. And you didn't feel that that was true? If your supervisors made the attempt to rationalize with you, you're not going for it, huh? I pulled out my documentation to prove my case. They were shocked that I had so much ammunition against them. I completely crashed out on them, as the young people would say. Okay, now wait a minute. Hold up just a minute. Now you're on this job that you don't like. You don't like the people on the job. And now you are lashing out at the supervisors. Well, do you realize that they have control over your livelihood, your paycheck, your income? You should be trying to get along with these people, not bucking them if you plan to stay there until you retire. It sounds like you're cutting your own throat here. Now you say they thought I was a tap dancing dummy who didn't know my left from my right. I am spiritual and still a Christian. Okay, let's stop right there. You say you are spiritual and still a Christian. What do you mean by that? Okay. You realize that Christians worship an external God, where spiritual people worship the God within. So which one are you? Can't be both. You're either spiritual or you are a Christian. All right, being a Christian is a part of an organized religion. Spirituality is not organized religion. It's your individual relationship with the divine source energy, the God within. So, make up your mind. Which one you gonna be? Please don't tell me to look within when I'm dealing with the demonic forces. Well, you know what? You better be darn sure that you are not the one bringing these demonic forces. Because in your letter, you're in attack mode. That's not spiritual. That's not spiritual at all. You're not open to anything they have to say. You already said that they come to work drunk and all this kind of thing and how they are selfish and this and that. Well, but you stuck and you can't move. Apparently you like it. Something in you delights in this turbulence and you are just adding to it. I hate these people. They are loud, ghetto, obnoxious, fat, and gossipy. Well, you know what? That's pretty typical of a Christian because Christians judge everybody, but they don't even follow their own doctrine, which says, judge not, that you be judged. You see, and I was raised with the Bible. I know what it says. But apparently you don't. You know, you want to spout and judge everybody when you really should be looking in the mirror at yourself. Okay? You say, I cannot go to HR. They are just as messy as they are. And go way back with these jerks. Well, now you think everybody in the office is against you. Now, I agree with you. There's no need in you going to HR with this because HR looks after the company. They don't care anything about you. All right. So you'll be just wasting your time and you will give them documentation against you. All right. So yeah, you don't want to go to HR. Do you have any words of encouragement or ideas to regain my mental sanity? Yeah, I do. I don't know if you're going to like it, but my advice to you is to step away from this demonic energy that you are in. You were in it. And what it's doing is making you believe that it's everybody else. There's something wrong with everybody else except you. You need to look in the mirror at yourself. You have a need to always be right. And I do feel like a lot of Christians have that because they believe whatever they've been taught in church. And most of them haven't even read the Bible for themselves, so they have no idea what it really says. But they'll sit up and judge everybody else's, everybody else is a demon, when really it's them. It's them perpetrating this negative energy. Now, for you to go on the job and to argue with your supervisors, that I don't know where you're coming from with that. You understand? That's not the way to progress on a job. And you want to sit there until your retirement. Maybe they're used to you acting this way on the job and they just ignore you. Maybe that's it. I don't know how long you've been on the job, but it doesn't sound like you're the ideal employee. All right? Because jobs hire people to do a certain work. Whatever they need for you to do in the job, that's what you do. Okay? There are people on the job that you don't get along with. I understand that. When I was working, there's a lot of things on the job I didn't agree with. But I didn't go around talking about it, spouting about it, talking about the people and looking at them and judging what they're doing. I paid attention to myself, just getting through it. That's all I wanted to do was just make my little paycheck and get through it. I didn't care what anybody else said. I wasn't there trying to get my point across or anything like that. Whatever they said, okay. It's your company. Whatever you want done, okay. You understand? That's the kind of employees that these companies want. They don't need for you coming there, checking them and telling them how they are wrong and how you're right and things like that. Get your own company. And then you can do whatever you want to do. But when you're working for other people, you got to realize that there's certain stipulations that you must adhere to if you want to stay on the job. And your perspective to believe, because you probably are a Christian, and a lot of Christians do this. They think they're right about everything. You see, because they go to prayer meeting or their Bible study or whatever, church on Sunday, and they come out and they feel empowered that they can judge everybody else as being wrong. Because in your houses of worship, unless they are different from when I went to church, they believe that everybody outside of their church is a sinner and going to hell. Demonic people, everybody but them. You see, when they really should be looking at themselves. Quit judging people. Concentrate on making yourself a better person. Be a model. And maybe other people will say, oh, you know what? I want to be like her. But the way that you're acting, nobody is going to say they want to be like you. You're not a good example. You need to work on yourself. And I told you, I don't think you're going to like what I have to say about it. I think the fault is in you. If you're in a place that you don't like, leave. Leave. Because you're sitting there making yourself miserable and probably everybody else. No. And I'm sure your job isn't to check everybody on the job, to criticize everybody on the job, and to prove your point every time you think you're right. I don't think that's your job. You understand? Now, the thing about it is, when you move to different regions, people's attitudes are different. Because now I spent the better part of my life, and I went to school in New York. Okay. But then when I left New York, I went to Atlanta. The people are different in Atlanta than they are in New York. When I went, it's a lot more New Yorkers down there now. But when I went, it was still the South. And people are very passive when the people in New York are very aggressive. So I did not fit in with that environment at all. I spent 2 years there and I took off. I left, headed back north where I belong. You understand? Maybe you are with the wrong people, the wrong environment. You have to think about that. But you got to be open when you go to a new environment or a new job or whatever. Just remember, you're only going to the job to make a living for yourself. You're not going there to get along with those people. And you're not there to judge them either. You're only there to provide for yourself. You got to keep that in your mind. To provide for yourself. And that'll stop you in the tracks from doing a lot of things that are detrimental to your work experience. Especially when you're working for somebody else. If you got your own business, that's a different thing. Because whatever you do in your own business, you suffer the consequences. But when you're working for somebody else, you are under their direction. Okay? I hope that you understand the message today. And I really hope that it helps someone. Now, those of you who may have a question that you'd like for me to answer, my email address is in the description. And if you're looking for today's affirmation, the link is also in the description. I want to thank you so much for supporting this channel. Thank you for your comments and your letters. And a very special thank you to those that leave a donation. I really appreciate all of you. I wish you all the very best. And I really hope to see you next time.